Sun is going to play some risky games in 2025. According to a recent alert sounded by the NASA, a massive solar storm can hit Earth anytime soon due to a solar flare that emerged from the Sun, which can impact or completely destruct radio communications, electric power grids, and navigation signals. The reconstruction all the aspects of modern Earth would take time. At the time, the world faces apocalypse. Hello everyone. Welcome back to our channel, Hidden Rees. First, we have to understand our very own star, Sun. The Sun is a massive, luminous ball of gas located at the center of our solar system. It is a G-type main sequence star, which means it is in the middle of its life cycle. With a diameter of about 1.4 million kilometers, it contains approximately 99.86% of total solar system's mass. Sun's energy production is indeed based on the process of nuclear fusion, specifically the fusion of hydrogen to form helium. The Sun does not have a well-defined surface like a solid object. Instead, it is composed of plasma. The surface temperature of the Sun is approximately 5,500 degrees Celsius. The Sun possesses a strong and complex magnetic field that extends throughout its atmosphere and influences various solar phenomena. The Sun's magnetic field is generated through a process called the dynamo effect, which involves the interaction of charged particles and the rotation of the Sun's plasma. And it experiences a magnetic field flip approximately every 11 years, this 11 years considering a solar cycle. As the solar cycle progresses, the magnetic field becomes increasingly complex and stronger. During the early phase of the solar cycle, the magnetic field lines near the Sun's surface become twisted and contorted due to differential rotation. This results in the formation of localized regions with intense magnetic activity, where sunspots can emerge. Sunspots are, on average, about the same size as Earth. Imagine the Sun's magnetic field as loops of rubber bands, with one end attached to the North Pole and the other to the South Pole. As the Sun rotates at different speeds, with the equator rotating faster than the poles, a differential rotation is created. As the Sun rotates, these magnetic loop, rubber bands, get more wound up, both tighter and more complicated. Eventually, the magnetic fields snap, rise and break the surface. This disturbance in the Sun's magnetic field forms pores that can grow and join together to form larger pores, or protospots, that eventually become sunspots. A group of sunspots is known as an active region. In that place, the temperature of the surface is about 3,500 degrees Celsius. Sunspots are typically associated with pairs or groups of magnetic fields, with one region having a positive polarity and the other having a negative polarity. These regions can interact, leading to magnetic phenomena. When parts of the Sun's strong interior magnetic field rise to the surface, they also produce solar flares and coronal mass ejection, CME. Solar storms are caused by solar flares and coronal mass ejections. A solar flare is a sudden burst of energy that occurs when magnetic energy that has built up in the Sun's atmosphere is released. Coronal mass ejections, on the other hand, are massive eruptions of plasma and magnetic field from the Sun's corona. These ejections can release billions of tons of matter into space and travel at speeds of up to several million miles per hour. The Sun's magnetic field reaches peak strength during solar maximum, generating an increase in events like solar flares and coronal mass ejections. The total number of sunspots varies during the 11-year solar cycle, sometimes called the sunspot cycle, with the peak of sunspot activity coinciding with the solar maximum and a sunspot hiatus occurring with the solar minimum. After solar minimum in December 2019, the 24th solar cycle, the Sun entered its 25th solar cycle, and it reaches its solar maximum in the year of 2025. Now, you all have one question. The solar maximum is happening in every solar cycle, then, why we have to worry? Solar storms, particularly coronal mass ejections and solar flares, can occur during every solar cycle, but their frequency and intensity can vary. And also, Earth's magnetic field plays a crucial role in protecting the planet from the harmful effects of solar storms. When a low-intensity solar storm occurs, the charged particles in the solar wind interact with Earth's magnetic field. The magnetic field acts as a shield, deflecting and redirecting these particles away from the planet. As a result, the charged particles guided by the magnetic field interact with the atmosphere near the poles, creating the beautiful auroras. The powerful solar storm was first observed in The Carrington event, also known as the Carrington solar flare of 1859, was a powerful geomagnetic storm that occurred on September 1 and 2, 1859. It is named after the British astronomer Richard Carrington, who observed and recorded the event. The CME associated with the Carrington event reached Earth in approximately 17.6 hours, which is considered exceptionally fast. When the CME reached Earth's magnetosphere, it caused a severe geomagnetic storm. The storm was so intense that it generated auroras that were visible in many parts of the world, even in tropical regions, and caused disruptions in telegraph systems worldwide. More than 100 years later, on March 13, 1989, a powerful solar flare erupted from the Sun's surface, accompanied by a massive CME. The storm had significant consequences for electrical and communication systems. It caused widespread power outages and disrupted satellite operations, radio communication, and some ground-based electrical equipment. One of the main incidents, Canadian province of Quebec, paralyzed the entire power grid. Flashovers in electrical distribution systems left some 6 million people sitting in the dark for 9 hours. In July 2012, an extremely powerful solar storm has happened. It was a close call for Earth. The solar storm tore through Earth orbit, only a week after our planet had passed by that segment of space. It was the strongest one ever recorded, more than twice as powerful as any solar storm recorded in the last 150 years. Scientists say it was actually two storms that combined their energy into one superstorm and followed the track of another storm days earlier. If it has happened, our Earth probably ended as Mayan civilization prediction. The Carrington event had significant effects on telegraph systems, which were the most advanced form of communication technology at the time. Telegraph operators reported sparks and shocks from their equipment, some even receiving electric shocks. In some cases, telegraph systems continued to operate even after being disconnected from their power sources due to the induced currents in the wires. If a solar storm were to hit Earth today, it could have far-reaching consequences on our modern technological infrastructure. In simple words, chaos. Imagine. Our world now belongs to the electrical equipment including mobile phone, computer, TV, EV car, oven, even toothbrush. These are minor. But the major place like nuclear reactor, hospital, agriculture, radio telescope. Because the proper maintenance of these places must need an electricity. Electronics connected to long conductive structures, such as power lines and pipelines, are susceptible to induced currents. Animals are not affected, because they are not belongs to these. But human. Satellite communication systems, including GPS, weather forecasting, and telecommunications, even International Space Station could be severely disrupted. The charged particles from the solar storm can interfere with satellite electronics and communication signals, leading to temporary or prolonged outages. The time taken for the Earth's system's return to normal may prolong if the government didn't take any precaution activities. With proper preparation and measures in place, the impact of solar storms can be minimized. And the beautiful auroras they produce can be enjoyed without fear of damage or disruption. But, we have only 18 hours to take the precautions, if the solar storm, ready to hit Earth from Sun. Before that, the government have to shut down all electric supplies. Clearly, scientists can warn of greater solar activity after anything explodes from the Sun. However, it's still very challenging to anticipate when an outburst may happen. Because, the Sun may reach the peak of its current activity cycle in 2024, 1 year ahead of official predictions. Based on recent research, it shows increasing number of sunspots may reason. The Sun produced over 160 sunspots in last month June, the highest monthly number in more than 2 decades. But even after the Sun reaches its peak, its wrath will continue to threaten Earth for at least the next 5 years. So, who knows? Only the Sun itself knows when it's going to happen. Thanks for watching this video. Comment your opinion about this video. Opinion is always welcomes. Many of you saw the video without subscribe the channel. So, please do subscribe.